Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Caroline, and in today's video I want to talk about, well, just a very brief conversation on being a Black person in the yoga field, okay, if we can put it that way. Now, I see so many comments online under different people's posts from Black, people who are saying that they felt discomfort going to studio classes and being the only Black person there, even to the point of feeling, unwanted or like they shouldn't be there. I saw this one comment about how the lady who left the comment, she said she was about to walk into the class or into the studio. I'm not 100% sure, but she said she was about to walk through the door, and a palm-colored person who I guess either was managing the studio or working at the studio, but put her hand up as in like, you can't come in or something, but she still went in, so good for her. But I mean, damn, okay? Damn. And first of all, I'm not surprised. I mean, are we? Are we really? Okay, I am not surprised. And while I personally, I can't really think of specific moments where I felt like I didn't belong or that my presence was not, accepted or was shunned upon. Because, okay, and by the way, I've been practicing yoga for many years, okay, like over 2 decades. Over 2 decades? Yes, over two decades. But in yoga studios, it's been maybe 17 years or 18 years, whatever. Anyways, and I have felt it, but not necessarily in regards to my skin tone. I felt it for different reasons, which I'll make a different video about. But I think that I didn't really clock that type of energy because whenever I would go to the studio, I didn't give a fuck. I want my class. So I don't care how anybody may or may not feel about me. My mind was on one lane in one direction. Like I just want my class, I come in, I do my class, and then I'm out type thing, okay? So if anybody felt any type of energy towards me, if I noticed it, I didn't really care about it, okay? However, when I became a teacher though, this is when I definitely clocked it, okay? Let me tell you, the number of times I would show up for class, and side note, I travel and teach. Okay, so this is not specific to one area. It's everywhere I've been. There's been instances when this happened, okay? But it's always by someone of this skin tone, all right? So the number of times that I've showed up to a class and start setting up like my mat at the front, my water bottle, my singing bowl, etc., etc. And let's say there were already like a few students who came earlier and had set up and just relaxing in the room. And this one time, this one lady said, and I'm clearly at the front, right? Clearly at the front setting up. I'm starting to say hi to some people that I know who are in the class before the class starts, of course, and this lady said, so when's the teacher gonna show up? Like, who's the teacher? And I was like, I know you saw me set up in the front, right? So I looked at her like, I'm the teacher. And she was like, oh. I'm sorry, ma'am. It's just me. I don't know who you were expecting, but it's just little old moi, okay? It's just me. And that happened a few times. And the reactions would be different. Like that one lady in particular, like I remember her. She was like, oh, but sometimes it was like, oh, or yo. Um, I've had from the same type of interaction, like, oh, who's the teacher for the class, you know? Or I would hear them ask at the reception, or even sometimes when I was at reception, this is in studios particularly, when I was at reception, because let's say it was just the last class, so I just do the reception, then I lock up, and then I go teach. Um, of, you know, a student asking, oh, so I've never met tonight's teacher, like, who is it? And I'm like, oh, it's me. And they're like, oh, okay. How what, you know? And inside, I laugh a little because I'm thinking, well, first things first, what does it matter? If I am a teacher and certified, you know, people love to hear that stuff, but I'm a certified teacher and I have quite a few classes at the studio or whatever the hell, I must be doing something right. You know what I mean? At least satisfying enough for me to stay on as a teacher, I assume. You know what I mean? Because if you suck, then, you know, you get all the bad reviews and then next thing you know, you're out of a job, right? But what does it matter what I look like, what my skin tone is? Or even whether I'm a woman or if it's a man. I mean, okay, there are some people can have, you know, certain reasons why they would prefer a certain gender to teach them. That's okay. But at least as far as like the skin tone, I'm thinking, well, first things first, instead of just going off of because you're black, then it's questionable, I would say, why don't you just open up your mind, and you're here. Now, if you don't want to take the class anymore because you see I'm black and you're like, nah, I'm not taking a black teacher's class, then please be on your way. You know what I'm saying? Like, no harm there for me personally. I wouldn't want your energy in the class anyways, right? But if you go like, you know, well, stay on that, stay curious. If you've never had a black teacher, this is your first time, and you're like, oh, okay, well, I've never had that type of experience before, so let's see. And then when I offer you the class, when you experience it, it's up to you to see, okay, well, do I still want to take classes with Caroline or not? And ideally, it has nothing to do with my skin tone. It has to do with my teaching itself. Did it resonate with you? You know, did you receive something that made you feel good, that helped you in whatever way, shape, or form, that you can take with you off the mat and into your life? Then by all means, like, come back and see me again, because, you know, that's my MO when I teach, you know. And if you choose not to come to one of my classes again, it's because, you know, well, you know what? It's not, our vibes are not aligned. And I've stopped going to many people's classes because the vibes are not aligned. The way that they teach, I don't receive it. And it's not to say that they're not good teachers. It's just the vibes are not matching. They're not aligned, and that's okay. And you know what? By me not taking up space in this class, it makes space for somebody else to come through who might resonate with that teacher and their style of teaching. You see what I'm saying? But all this to say, at the end of the day, if you're a black person, you're watching this and you're curious about yoga, and you've tried going to studios but felt some type of way because of the energy that you felt you were receiving from the other people there. Now, unless you decide, you know what, it's way too uncomfortable. I'm gonna do it online. I'm gonna go on YouTube, get some free classes, do my own thing. Do you, boo? But if you're looking for the studio experience where you want to be in a class with all these other yogis and have a teacher there who you can talk to, who can help adjust you and things of the sort, when you show up at the studio, walk in there knowing you belong. Like, I belong here. I paid my money to have access to the class, to have access to the facilities, and therefore I walk in here in full knowing and confidence and feeling very, very zen, very peaceful, very centered. I belong here, and if you're sitting in the waiting room, having your tea, even if other people are looking at you like, what is that person doing here? What am I doing here? Same as you. I came here to take a class. Why can't I be here to take a class? I paid. I brought my gear, or I paid to rent some. I did everything, that you got to do so that you can have access to this class. So I belong here. Walk in the studio knowing you belong. You belong. And take this and bring it to different spheres of your life. Wherever you show up, you belong. If you made a conscious decision to go somewhere, to be somewhere, to do something, wherever you land, you belong. You belong. Okay? And fuck what anybody else thinks or with how they feel about it. Now, of course, don't put yourself in positions where your life might be in danger. Like, you understand what I'm saying when I say this, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have to pull up the disclaimer and say like, well, don't go in places where yada, 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 yada. But if it's, sports, a bar, a school, whatever, a restaurant, show up knowing that, hey, I belong. I belong. And the more you embody that type of energy, that wherever you are, you take your own space. I'm not trying to like step on your toes. I just take my own space and I own it fully. And wherever I go, I belong. Here I am. Yes, it will. It might ruffle some feathers. Some people might feel like, well, who does she think she is, or who does he think he is? Guess what? That's their problem. That is their problem. Let them deal with that energy. Let them deal with that energy. Let them be bothered. You stay right where you are, unbothered, okay? And from there, the sense of self-confidence and the empowerment that you will feel is just going to take you in different places in your life. You will open up doors to spaces where that old belief that, oh man, I'm uncomfortable when I go to this space or that space, it will shift that old belief into a new one. And you will see doors open because now you vibrate at a whole new frequency. Okay? So I hope this resonates with you in some kind of way. I am personally working on a project right now that I want to offer you, and particularly, my Black sisters, my Black brothers. I'm not gonna lie, listen, I'm speaking mostly to women, but if you're a brother and, you want to get in on this, then please, hey, welcome. It's just, don't be mad if I say she or her, or, refer to my client as, a woman, because that's usually the people that I deal with. But I am creating things that I'm very excited to create, and they are born out of, they're inspired from these experiences. And I'm thinking, man, I just want to give my sisters, and brothers, but I want to give my sisters the tools, the information, the knowledge, at least the 101 basic, level, starting entry level, the foundation knowledge and information that you can implement and that will empower you. Well, first of all, they'll transform you, because I went through that personal transformation myself. And so once you have these tools, when you step into a studio, wherever it is, whoever's there, whoever's teaching, whatever color the clientele is, the majority of the clientele is, you will step into that studio, into that classroom empowered, even if you're a beginner, you've never done the practice before. Listen, you will be empowered to walk in there. And even if it's like day one for you, the other day ones in the room, you will already be a few steps ahead of them, even if it's your first time stepping on a mat. Okay? And this is personally what I wish I had when I committed to the journey, because my whole, the way that I started yoga was by default, because it was in school. It was part of the program that I studied in college. But when I went to the studio afterwards on my own, and when I decided to commit to the practice in 2015, like really commit to it, I wish I had known all this information, because it would have definitely given me that extra layer of, yes, I belong here. Let me do this. Let's get this practice going. And I already have some tools in my toolbox that help me understand what's really going on in this room. And matter of fact, to tell you the truth, it's information that usually is not even shared in a yoga class, in a regular yoga class. I've done many classes with different teachers, and it's rare that they'll bring these other elements of yoga into the practice, into the asana practice, the postures practice in a class. And that's also a whole other conversation about what yoga is and what yoga isn't, because honestly, just showing up on a mat and doing these physical postures, that's not it. Okay, that is not yoga. We call it yoga. In my opinion, it's just to facilitate the conversation. I'm not going to start explaining every time to everyone whenever we talk about yoga. I'll just say, yeah, it's yoga. But in my head, it's like, no. But sure, to just make the conversation easy, I'll just say, yeah, going to a yoga class. You know what I'm saying? But that'll be a different video as well. But so yeah, all this to say that I am working on something, and I want to empower you so that whenever you show up in a yoga class, you feel definitely confident to be there and to do the practice. And not only that, but my focus, because there are so many yoga teachers, they are pumping out yoga teachers every day by the hundreds, okay? So, and it's all, there's so many conversations I want to have. And it's all from, a Western, point of view and experience. And therefore, it is the container of that is capitalism, okay? But we'll talk about that some other time. So anyways, so they're pumping out all these yoga teachers, and they all come out, and it's, usually it's mostly the same thing. Of course, there are exceptions to the rule. There always are. But what I personally call like the McDonald's or the fast food of yoga, it's just, 200 hours and know how to give sequences, and they touch, dib and dab in a few different, more spiritual subjects during the training. But mostly what's important, what, most of the clients are looking for when they go to a studio is like a workout. So they teach you how to give a yoga postures workout type of class, okay? And that's what sells, that's what pays the bills, so it is what it is. But personally, I see yoga as a lifestyle, and I'll make a separate video on that. And what I want to share with you is beyond just the postures. It's how to take the yoga as a holistic spiritual science, with the guidelines, with all the techniques, the methods, everything that it teaches, and that you can put into practice. You can apply those teachings, and how it transforms your life off the mat. Okay, so that's how personally yoga changed my life. It wasn't because, oh, I'm able to put my body in a pretzel shape. No, it wasn't that. It was the other practices that I could apply in my real life outside of the yoga studio, off of a yoga mat, because that's where I needed the healing. That's where I needed the magic. That's where I needed the medicine that yoga can provide. Okay, so that's what I want to share with you. Let's go beyond the mat, beyond the poses, and into the lifestyle. So moving forward, this is what my page is going to be about, my channel. If it's your vibe, if it resonates with you, please like and subscribe. I've spent the last year just going through this purge and unlearning, relearning, and now I've grounded myself, I've anchored myself in the new direction that I want to take. And so this is what I'm going to be sharing with you moving forward on this channel. So again, if you're curious, if you want to know more, you want to be empowered, you want to be transformed by yoga as a lifestyle, then subscribe to the page, like this video, leave your comments, questions down below, and I will definitely take a look at them and reply and engage in conversations with you. And if you've had experiences being Black in a yoga space in the Western world, how was that for you? And let's just be here for each other and support each other. And instead of being worried about what other people say or feel about us, let's do our own thing. Okay, let's do our own thing. You don't want me there, no problem. I'm gonna do me. Okay, I'm gonna do me with my brothers, with my sisters, with my people, with my tribe. And that's what I want to end this video on. Okay, so thank you for watching. If you're here till the end, I will see you in the next video soon enough. I look forward to sharing all that beautiful stuff with you. And on that note, I'll let you go, and I'll see you soon. Ciao.